Chapter 12, overview of the nervous system. As you can see here, the nerves are going to give you the peripheral nervous system. And the parts in blue, the brain and spinal cord, right here, brain, and this is going to be spinal cord. That's going to be the central nervous system. If we scroll down, you have this division in boxes. Central nervous system, brain and spinal cord, peripheral nervous system, nerves. We have two types of nerves. The ones that are going to make you feel, right? The ones that are going to tell you that you were bitten by a mosquito, and the one that is going to tell you that you need to move in order to scratch it. Nerves that are going to make you feel, they're going to be sensory, division, nerves. And all those nerves that are going to make you move something, the effectors are going to be the muscles. Instead of calling them muscles in your hands, muscles in your eyes, muscles in your legs, we're just going to call them effectors. So since they are going to move, they're going to be called the motor division. The nerves that help you move the muscles that are attached to your skeleton, that's going to be called somatic motor. The ones that make you move your heart, visceral motor, because they're inside of you. Same thing, sensory, they're going to make you feel. So if you got bitten by a mosquito, then you know that's in your skin. But do you feel pain in your intestines when you have diarrhea, for example? Of course. So then how do you know that you have pain? Because you have receptors for pain in your intestines, and that's why you know that you have diarrhea. So how many sensory you have? You have sensory somatic and sensory visceral. How many motor you have? Motor visceral and motor somatic. Later on, you're going to see the motor visceral. It has two additional divisions, which are going to be the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. So let's keep going. In there you have the information that we just mentioned. Central nervous system, we said brain and spinal cord. Peripheral nervous system, we said those are going to be the nerves. And the nerves are going to be divided in two main groups. We said they are going to be sensory, if they're going to help you feel, or this other one right here, motor, if they're going to help you move. If they are sensory, they can be somatic and visceral, or if they are motor, they can also be somatic and visceral. But remember, we said that if they are going to be visceral, that they are going to have two additional divisions, and we're going to see that later on. Those are going to be the sympathetic and parasympathetic. Okay, let's keep going. The next topic is going to be properties of neurons. The neurons are the cells that you find in your nervous systems. So what's the characteristic that a neuron has? Excitability, conductivity, and secretion. So then we said we have peripheral nervous system and central nervous system. We already talked about that. So let's take a look at the neuron. That's a neuron. Okay, the neuron has the body, all this part right here, and it has extensions. These extensions that are smaller, dendrites. This long extension is going to be called axon. The very beginning of it is going to be the axon hillock. This axon is covered by this balloon type of structure, kind of like blue right here. These are cells, and these cells, smaller cells, they are going to be called the Schwann cells. The job of the Schwann cell is to produce the myelin sheath, as you can see here. What's the job of the myelin sheath? To cover parts of the axon. The spaces, these spaces right here, in between these areas, it's going to be called the node of Ranvier. So let's keep scrolling down, and we are going to see the axon terminal. So if we keep scrolling down, we have dendrites. I already talked about axon hillock, the axon. This is just different type of classifications of neurons. If it has multiple extensions, as you can see here, multiple extensions, it's called multipolar. Bipolar, how many extensions? Two. One right here, another one right here. Which one is this one? If it has only one extension, unipolar. If you scroll down, you're going to see this one. This one shows only dendrites, no axons. So therefore, this is going to be called anaxonic. So let's keep scrolling down, and we're going to see axons. Axonal transport. If the cell needs to transfer things, for example, nutrients from the body to the end of the axon, that is anterograde. And if it needs to transport things from the end of the axon to the body, it's retrograde. Okay, and that's what you have right here, anterograde and retrograde. So we keep scrolling down, and that's about it for this part. Okay, the next topic is supportive cells. We said that the cells that you find in your brain are going to be the neurons. Well, in addition to those cells, there are other cells that the main job that they have is just to support the job of the neuron. For example, if there is an infection in your brain, the neuron doesn't fight the infection. Other cells will do that. So these other cells that you find in your brain are going to be called the neuroglia, as you can see in there. So for example, take a look at the very first one. You have oligodendrocytes, and that one forms myelin sheath. As you can see in there, you have the neurons and how these other cells are around these neurons in order to give them support. That's the neuroglia. So then what other cells we have? We already mentioned oligodendrocytes. We have ependymal cells. They produce the cerebrospinal fluid. Microglia, they fight infections, for example. Astrocytes, they are going to produce the blood-brain barrier. So we said some of the functions of these cells is to produce myelin. Myelin is very important for the speed at which the information is going to be transferred from your body into your brain and from your brain into your body. So the myelin wraps around the axon, as you can see here. This provides you myelinated and unmyelinated neurons. So this one is myelinated, where you see the one Schwann cell in here, right? This is a Schwann cell. How it wraps around the nerve, that's myelinated. But if you scroll down right here, this one right here is considered unmyelinated. Why? Because in here you see a whole bunch of nerves, but you see there's only one myelin that is covering all of them. That's why this is called unmyelinated. The main difference, one of them is faster than the other when it transfers the information to your brain. That's why you have in here the topic, conduction speed of nerve fibers. Which one is faster? The myelinated. Which one is slower? Unmyelinated fibers. Regeneration of nerve fibers. Okay, nerves don't regenerate. Otherwise, people who are not able to walk anymore after they have an accident, they will walk again, but they don't. The nerve fibers, they regenerate by just a tiny, tiny bit, which is not enough in order to repair or regain the main functionality on some areas where the movement of the muscles has been lost. And that's about it.